Hello everyone, my name is Molly McCormick and I'm just doing a quick little PD on tech tools for multilingual learners, how we can use these to support the multilingual learners in the classroom. So just getting started with digital literacy, the American Library Association defines it as the ability to use information and communication technologies to find, evaluate, create, and communicate information requiring both cognitive and technical skills. So what we're finding is that, especially due to the pandemic, a lot of our students, multilinguals in particular, but many students, this digital lack of digital literacy skills and just technology in general has been creating a gap in equity between those that have and those that don't have. So one important thing to remember as educators is that we need to not only ourselves learn these digital literacy skills if we haven't been, but we also need to be teaching them to our students. So through using tech tools in the classroom, we're able to teach our students some of these skills such as collaboration, critical thinking, evaluation, and of course we need to be teaching them internet safety as well. So there are digital literacy standards that we can use. The ISTE, which stands for the International Society for Technology and Education, provides standards for both teachers and students. And I have created a hyperlink here if you would like to see what those, each of these standards are more in depth. But it's just basically empowering the learner, making them a digital citizen, constructing knowledge, innovation, again, this critical thinking, creative communicator, and global collaborator. So when you get more comfortable with these standards, you can implement them in your lessons when using technology, just to make sure that we as educators are in fact bringing technology and minimizing the gap due to technology with our students. So I'm sure most, if not all, are familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, but there's a Bloom's digital taxonomy, which we can use when we're evaluating different tech tools. We can use this graphic from the University of Arkansas. There's so many out there, but to evaluate the different tech tools that are out there to see, okay, is this going to really help my students evaluate and analyze? Is it going to promote high order thinking? And oftentimes what I have found is that with the tech tools that I'm going to share three, it's not necessarily the tech tool that is doing this, but it's more of the task that you ask the students to do with the tech tool, if that makes sense. So what exactly are they doing with the tech tool? If you're just using the tech tool to give information to your students, well, what are they doing with that information? So just things to consider. Also, when evaluating tech tools, I really like there's so many different matrices or modules that you could use to evaluate tech tools. I don't know why this has always been one of my favorites, but if you look here, it's the student's relationship. This is matrix. So the student's relationship to the tech is passive, is it interactive, creative, and then the teacher's use of tech. Is it just replacing traditional practice? So, and are the students being passive? So, are they just watching a movie instead of reading a book? Well, that's just, replacing traditional. It's okay if you don't always have to be, transformative and creative, but I think to shoot for interactive, because we want student-centered classrooms, of course, and we want collaboration, and we want our students to be, again, as we saw on the last slide, in the higher order thinking and critical thinking. So up here would be great, but not every lesson can be up here. So anyways, this is just a good resource to use to evaluate tech tools. So key supports for multilingual learners, again, this is 3 out of so many, but just 3 that I want to focus on, and then 3 that many of you are aware of and that are just really important. So the first is visual aids, using visual aids to support text, concepts, and content. We all know how important it is to be using these visual aids for our learners. Second is social interaction. Research is showing that the more often students are talking about what they're learning, they are going to not only be making more meaning, but they're also going to be retaining that information more and also understanding better through discussions and collaboration. And then finally, differentiation through scaffolding and differentiating the task and content, which I'm sure all of you are already doing or trying to do in the classroom anyways. So it is known that visual pictures are better stored in our brains than verbal ones, and that visual aids can engage students and help teachers explain difficult concepts. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I feel like pretty much common sense. So images, videos, visual representation. So for example, this math problem, just allowing students to see it. There's a lot of tech tools out there that can support your lessons with these. So graphs to show statistics, pictures to support word problems and to help with vocabulary, images and videos to support vocabulary words, especially concepts. And then second is the social interaction. So communicative interaction encourages cooperative relationships among students. It gives students an opportunity to work on negotiating meetings. So there's a lot of research in that shows that as true. So ways to promote social interaction, this is like from a sociocultural lens as well, is to give students opportunities to collaborate with their peers. That can be done through, discussions, discussing what they read, what they watched, what they heard. So when students talk about what they're learning, they have a better understanding of the material and are generally more engaged. So there are a lot of tech tools that can be used to help with this collaboration and with social interaction. Create tasks that require collaboration for your students. So those would be some tips for encouraging social interaction in your classroom. And then differentiation, which again, this is kind of a common sense that many of you are already doing all of these probably, but the goal of differentiated instruction is to create learning opportunities that make allowances for differences in how individual students learn in order to ensure equal access to important academic content. So again, it's that equality so that they can understand. So multimodal, using visuals, having audio for listening, reading, leveling the reading for the students, allowing for multiple forms of response. So if you have new to country students, maybe allow them to draw a picture instead of writing their answer, or allowing them to give a verbal response instead of typing it out. So some of the tech tools that I will introduce to you in a moment allow for these sorts of opportunities. Scaffolding, so sentence starter, sentence or paragraph frames using subtitles when you're showing a video. And of course, graphic organizers. And then intentional grouping. When you have groups, be intentional about it. So whether it's mixed ability, so you have some higher level or lower level together, or similar ability for translanguaging, you can have similar L1 students who share the same home language. They can sit together. And then you could do different jigsaw activities, which this also promotes social interaction, which is great. And then shorter text, leveled text, and videos instead of reading for those who need that extra support. So the 3 tech tools that I'm going to introduce to you are Edpuzzle, Linked, and Wakelet. So Edpuzzle is where you can, it's a tech tool where you can either find existing videos for students to watch, and then you insert questions throughout that students answer, or you can create your own video and upload it. So I have a tutorial on a slide coming up. Linked is great for assessments. It allows students to respond to different types of questions. So the teacher can pose a picture and then write a question below the picture. They can insert a video. They can, if it's a listening and speaking test, they could just have verbal questions that the teacher asks, and then the students have to respond. There's only 2 ways of responding for the student, and that is either they type or they speak. But you can also have students create their own. And then Wakelet is great as new source that I just discovered, but it is a blog in which students can gather resources to create a portfolio, or a teacher can create a blog of resources that students can explore and learn from. So to learn more about Edpuzzle, please watch this tutorial. And I talk about the benefits of it and how to use it. But again, these are all supports that we talked about. So the visual, differentiation is possible, and collaboration, that social interaction piece, and creativeness, because students can also create their own.
Hey everyone, I would like.
But I'm not going to have us watch it. Linked was that assessment, or it could just be an assignment task. And again, the visual support is there. Audio, text, differentiation, and collaboration is also possible. So here's the website, and then here's a tutorial on how to use and how to make a linked assignment. But I'll let you watch that. And then last but not least is Wakelet. Again, the blog that also encourages our three supports for multilinguals, which is visual, differentiation, and social interaction through collaboration. Really have enjoyed this resource, and it's very simple and easy to use. And students can create their own, which is fantastic if you're doing it for a research project or gathering resources. Hi there, so here's my list of references, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.